So a little bit more about my experience is during high school, I was a tutor. Through college, I was a tutor. I was working at the YMCA, tutoring, and also as a substitute teacher for 3 years. I graduated high school with my associate's degree, went on, got my bachelor's degree in 3 years, and then instantly started my master's program. I taught 1 year in La Junta as a sixth grade math teacher. From there, I moved to Texas to be with my fiance. And then this last year, we actually moved back to Colorado. So I just received a job at Columbian Elementary teaching third grade. A little bit about my leadership style, I would say, is I am a very situational leader. I can be a very authoritarian leader if I need to be. I could also be very laissez-faire, laid back. You take charge, and I'll just check in every once in a while. Leader. I feel like it all depends on the people that you're leading, the other leaders that are around you, and the situation that you're involved in. So different professional development opportunities that I've attended would be I did writing workshop, professional development, safety trainings. Um, I've done the Leach literacy trainings, as well as, the other district professional development that you get done within your building. The last book that I've read that's not been for this course would definitely be A Child Called It. I love that book. I've read all three in that series 6, 7, 8 times. And I really like that book. So that would be the last one that I've read. Different leadership opportunities that I've experienced. Being a leadership minor, we did a lot of volunteering. We got to start a new program at high schools here in Pueblo, where we got to go to the high schools and talk to the seniors about different opportunities, life after high school, whether that's financial planning, whether you should live in the dorms or, in an apartment, what works better for each of them, and getting to sit and get one-on-one with them and help them with stuff that we didn't get help with. And then I also got to go to the Smithsonian for an internship last summer. I worked as an intern in the Office of Fellowships and Interns, so I got to work very closely with the director in that leadership opportunity. Working with someone who's struggling can be very difficult. I feel like the best thing to be is open-minded and listen to them. A lot of times I say, trust me, I've been there, or, let's look at it together. Let's see if we can, with two brains is always better than one. So let's see if we can find a common ground, see how we can fix, where we're struggling at. What types of community involvement do I participate in? Right now, I'm not doing as much just because we're in the process of moving. But I do like to, get involved not only within my church and within my town, but the town I grew up in does a lot with Missouri Days and other things like that. And I like to help, volunteer, different stuff like that. Something about myself that other people will not know, probably the fact that I have 8 brothers and sisters. There's 9 of us total. A lot of people think that's crazy. I have a very conjoined family. Both my parents are divorced. They remarried, and I've got step siblings, I've got half siblings, but I only have one fully blooded biological brother. So that's kind of interesting out of all of them. What would you consider being my biggest success? My biggest success would probably be my schooling. I graduated high school with an associate's degree, made it through my bachelor's in 3 years, and now starting my master's. I guess my biggest success would be my determination to work hard, being able to work 2, 3 jobs and, take on these classes and trying to better myself would probably be my biggest successes. How I prioritize tasks and stay organized is I color coordinate my planner. I'm a very organized person. I have a planner. It's all color coordinated. It tells me what I need to do at what time. And it's kind of crazy, but it keeps me organized and it helps me prioritize what needs to come first, second, based on deadlines and importance, of course. What ideas do I have from out-of-the-box thinking? I guess that's more of a tricky one. My out-of-the-box thinking isn't necessarily all the time there. I like to think in the box a lot of the times because I feel like there's a lot of people out there who have posted their ideas, and then if we could just tweak and alter their ideas um, into better, our school, our community, I feel like that's the best way to do that because somebody else has already tried it. We could look at the data, we could look at the ideas from that. I guess different out of the box idea thinking that I have would be just small things like attendance or how can you bring in more management within the classroom. My idea is a lot of people were like, I never would have thought of that. It's kind of out of the box. What do you forecast as a future for education? My future, I guess, is kind of up in the air. My fiance works for Wells Fargo, and I know they're talking about promoting him and moving, and so, I mean, I have no idea where that puts us. I would really like to finish my master's program. We have a baby on the way, so start raising our family. My future for education is I would be a teacher for a while. I haven't decided if I really wanted to be a principal or not. I did do this just so I could see both ends of the spectrum and understand, the macro versus the micro side of education. And then eventually I'd like to teach at the college level, teach teachers how to be teachers after I become excellent at my job. Different innovative ideas I've seen in like technology in the classroom. I feel like, especially with reviews, there are so many ways to use technology, whether it's the clickers, whether it's Jeopardy, where the kids get to go up and touch the, boards. You can make so many games and inventions. You can use Google Classroom and make assignments where they actually have to like drag and drop, and it just becomes more interactive and more fun for the students, I think, because they're using the technology that they see every day or that they don't see very often, and it keeps them more engaged within their learning. What's motivating me would definitely be my family, my dogs, my fiance, the soon-to-be baby on the way. I feel like all of that stuff motivates me because I need to be the best that I can for my family to be the best that we can as a team. My strengths and weaknesses, I would say my strengths is I'm very adaptable and I'm very flexible. My weaknesses is, I guess, my patience level, not with children because I do have a very high patience with children. I noticed that my patience runs thin a lot of times with adults, staff and parents, because a lot of times if people have more education than you or they've been doing it longer, I've noticed a lot of times, especially in education, they talk down to you. And that's something that I don't agree with. I feel like everybody should be talked to as a human being and talked to on the same level because we don't know where everyone comes from. And I would say that's a weakness for me because I do end up analyzing, I feel, too far in those conversations. If I could change something in the office, what would it be? Probably the organization in the office. I feel like a lot of times it's scattered. You go in there and everybody's on a different page. Nobody knows really what's going on or where people are. So I'd maybe make like a out sheet. So if the principal's going to classrooms, they can mark that they're in the classroom so that we at least know where everybody's at during the day, because sometimes it gets a little confusing. And then we have one nurse in the building and they're gone very often. So I would say maybe if there was a possibility of bringing a backup nurse, because I know when kids like fall or they need to be sent to the nurse because they're sick, there's not a lot we can do because we have no nurse in the building. Why do I want to be a campus administrator? Like I talked about, I'm not sure if I want to be a campus administrator. I've thought a lot about it and I love the kids and I love the classroom, and I feel like being an administrator, I could give back a lot to the staff with opportunities, with being transparent, being very open and honest. And I feel like I'm a very strong leader, but I don't know being an administrator if that's necessarily the goal in mind yet. I really haven't decided where I want to be. I do want to finish my master's and keep teaching, and then later down the road, I have the degrees behind my belt to decide, okay, where am I going next from here? Tell me a joke. I'm not really a jokester per se, but I guess if I had to say a joke, I would probably pick one that I was told to the other day by my niece. She's 3 now, and she thinks she's hilarious. So because I'm blonde, I love blonde jokes. And I guess my blonde joke would be a blonde decided to paint the living room. Okay. And then her husband came home to find the wife was, sweaty, laying on the floor in a parka and a mink. And he asked, what is she doing? And she said, well, I wanted to prove that all blonde women weren't dumb. So I wanted to paint the living room. And he says, okay, but why are you wearing 2 coats? She replied, well, I read the directions on the paint can and it says, for best results, you put on 2 coats. So I always thought that was funny because in school I was always worked really hard. I tried really hard, and they always have the blondes are stupid jokes, and I always think those are the funniest. So well, I hoped you liked learning a little bit about me, and thank you for your time.